Good news, everybody. You don't have to read The Brothers Karamazov. Welcome to Shoulda Books, the podcast about all the books you should have read by now. My name is Jonathan, and welcome to the results episode, the results of the ballot of books for Q1 2026. I sent out a ballot to the email newsletter subscribers, and you all voted. You voted on 6 nominees of possible books that we could be reading in the new year. You chose your top 3, and I'm going to reveal that top 3 right now. But actually not right now, because first I have a few people to thank. First of all, I want to thank Aiko Igasaki for designing the poster for Shoulda Books and the logo and kind of the graphic design elements. I want to thank Skylar Klingenberg for composing the music for the intro. I think he did a fantastic job. And I want to thank one of my oldest friends, John Gilbert, for designing the website and kind of helping me with all of the web backend type stuff. I'm such a Luddite. I don't really know how any of that stuff works. So John has been just a wonderful help. And I want to thank him. I want to thank Skylar. I want to thank Aiko. I want to thank you all very deeply. And I want to thank you, the listener, the watcher, for voting on this poll. It was kind of a nail biter for the third place. Slots 1 and 2 were pretty much locked in. From the get-go, it was like, okay, it's clearly going to be these. But slot number 3, I was also pretty sure was going to be a certain book. And then in the last 24 hours, the book that ended up in 4th place came very, very, very close. I'm talking, it was, I have it right here in front of me, 4 votes, 4-vote difference. So what were the winners? Here we go. In first place, with 323 votes, it's Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte won comfortably. In second place is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. That one was also not very close. That was 268 votes. Comfortable lead over third. But third place is where it got really interesting. So with 230 votes, The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende, that's what won. That's taken home that third spot. But Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, just 4 votes behind. So very close. Justice for James. That one is definitely going to be back on the ballot at some point. Age of Innocence was not super far behind, 205 votes. So we've got some Wharton heads in the chat. But Brothers K, distant 6th. 132 votes. So we will be sending that one back out into the cold, but maybe someday. I'm not going to lie. I was a little relieved that I don't have to read one of the books that I chose. I do want to read that book at some point, but that is going to be a task. That's the order that the votes came in, but that's not the order we're reading in. No. So we're going to be reading in a slightly different order. The order of the Shoulda Book Club, the Year of Our Lord 2026. Why do we say that? Year of Our Lord. I mean, it's definitely related to the Catholic Church. Maybe I'll do a dive into that. Time. What is it? Who is it? Who can say? Anyway, the order that we are going to be reading them in is January. January is going to be The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. That's going to be the first book we're reading January 2026. In February, we're bringing back Bronte month, Jane Eyre, February. And so that means in March, that will be The Outsiders, when it is, hopefully time to start coming back outside if you live in a very cold place. Los Angeles doesn't really matter. It's kind of nice all year round. But it has its, hardships and psychic wounds in its own way. It's a little bit late. I don't know if you can tell. I just recorded an episode with Miles Bonsignore right before this. So my brain is a little loopy. We had a really fun conversation. It was very silly. And my brain's a little fried, but you don't care because that's not what you're here for. That is the order we're reading in. So I want to take a minute to give you a little bit of an overview of what these books are. If you're not super familiar with them, I am not, frankly, super familiar with them. So we're going to be discovering together. So House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. This was published in 1982. It's the debut novel from Isabel Allende. I know that she had a lot of trouble getting it published. A lot of places said no. But when one publisher finally did say yes, it was off to the races, huge hit. It's one of the most recommended books in various, polls and forums and things that I've done throughout the life of Shoulda Books, going back to when it was at Try Guys. Consistently, The House of the Spirits is one of the books that was recommended across the board. So that's why it was on the ballot. But it's a really intriguing story. It follows a Chilean family over the course of like 4 generations, and it involves elements of magical realism. So I'm really excited to learn more about that. I also, in kind of the cursory knowledge that I did just for this little episode, I learned that Isabel Allende is related to Salvador Allende, who was the president of Chile from 1970 to 1973 until he was deposed in a CIA US-backed coup in 1973 that took place on September 11th of that year, which is a topic that I am very interested in and will be diving into more as I do the research for this book. So that's what's happening in January. House of the Dang Spirits. So, February, Jane Eyre. Now, Jane Eyre was published in 1847. It's a coming-of-age story following the titular protagonist as she grows up in the north of England. I saw something about how this book revolutionized first-person storytelling, which I think is really interesting. I know that that's like kind of the preferred narration storytelling convention nowadays. I appreciate first person. I also like third person, but I'm excited to explore more of why this book was so revolutionary. Last February, when Shoulda Books was still part of Try Guys, we did Wuthering Heights, and that episode was super fun. And I really liked the book. I really liked it. It was by Charlotte's sister, Emily. And so I'm curious to see how the elder sister's book compares to the younger sister's. So Bronte month. Also, we're doing it in February because Wuthering Heights, the movie, starring Jacob Elordi as Heathcliff, which shouldn't have happened, but I have a lot of thoughts on that. And Margot Robbie as Catherine, which I guess is fine. Comes out in February. And you better believe I'm watching that. And even though, that's a different Bronte who wrote that, it's still Bronte month. So February, check it out. It's going to be cold and brooding, which is, I guess, what you do in the north of England. So March, The Outsiders. This was published in 1967. It's also a coming-of-age story, a Bildungsroman. Let me know in the comments if I said that right. It's a coming-of-age novel. It chronicles the war between 2 rival gangs, the Greasers and the Socs, in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1965. I put this one on the list because I, frankly, have wanted to watch the movie directed by Francis Ford Coppola for some time, and I generally, try to watch the movie first. That was also why Age of Innocence was on here, and I don't always do that, but if I get the chance, then I'm going to do it. I also know that The Outsiders is very influential in kind of YA as a genre. And so it'll be really interesting to dig into that and see what it has inspired. And I think we're going to have a good time. So those are the 3 books that we are going to be reading in Q1 of 2026 as part of the Shoulda Book Club. And as other updates in Shoulda Land. So I have been recording episodes. Like I said, I just recorded one with Miles. I've done some other ones with some other faces that if you're, have been a Try Guys fan, you'll probably recognize. We've got Kaylin Hertz, got Jack McGill, and MJ Smith. So those are episodes I've recorded so far. They'll be coming out in January. And again, those episodes are going to be me interviewing these people and having them share the 3 books that they think everyone should read. So, and we've had a really wide swath of books. I'm really excited to share these books with you because they're not classics. I don't mean it that way. They're not classics. There are some classics in there. There's some new books in there. There's nonfiction. It's really exciting to see what someone else sees as a really important book and why it's important to them. And so I've really been enjoying this format. I hope you enjoy it as well. I think you will. And if you don't, we'll figure it out from there, I guess. But I'm so excited to bring those episodes to you. And in the meantime, on December 18th, I'll be doing the final episode of the year. This will be the final kind of, prologue episode. I'm going to be going over everything I read this year and kind of talking about that a little bit. And then looking ahead at like what I want to accomplish in the new year, both with this podcast and also just in life in general. So stick around for that. And in the meantime, hopefully you can get some of these books for the holidays. I have a copy of 2 of these books. I've got Jane Eyre and House of the Spirits. I forgot to bring them with me and they're buried somewhere. So I'm not going to go grab them and show them to the camera, but I do have them. I don't have a copy of The Outsiders, so I'm hoping that I can get that for Christmas, but we will see what Santa does. So those are the books. That's what I've got. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And as always, keep reading. It's really hot in here. I don't like running the air conditioning because it gets really loud, but I also put on a sweater because it's like, December. But anyway, bye.